Right. Brothers and sisters, young people and friends, thanks for coming along tonight. Tonight's a celebration of, we went to Kenya back in April, so I had something written out as well. It's hard to believe it's been a week and a half since we've been back. That was back in April when I actually wrote this. We went over to Kenya for 17 days. It was a different country. 17 days that anything could happen and actually did happen. So we travelled from Nairobi down to Mombasa, and that's where we started the campaign of sponsorship of taking the photos of all the kids, and then from journey back up. So as a start to tonight, if you want to just stand up and we'll give a word of prayer. Our loving Heavenly Father, we come before you at this time. We thank you for blessing us with this day, the children this morning, the remembrance of you and the sacrifice of your Son on our behalf. We thank you for all that you have given to us, and also to think about those, our brothers and sisters in a foreign land, those children on the sponsorship or through trial, and the poorest of the regions, where we can give a little bit of hope and a little bit of a glimmer through their eyes and what they go through from day to day and what they endure. We ask you watch over us this evening as we demonstrate what they of a day in their life, and also with how you care for them in every day. And we do ask all things through your Son's name, as we do, even the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. So it all started way back when Chrissy Wright and Glenn came here, and they said, let's go over to down to Africa. And Glenn did his talk on how he disappeared down to Africa, had no plans in going down. That planted the seed for us. And then from that we went over to Rathmines, and we bumped into Phil and Deb Flint, and they did a demonstration for the kids for the at Rathmines on going over and talking to the kids and sponsorships and that type of thing. So to start off this evening, I thought we'll do a reading, if you had brought a Bible. 1 John 4, verse 6 to the end. And I think I've just forgotten something anyway. So if Darren, if you can come up, and I'll get Darren to read that. I've forgotten. Sorry, I'll just grab something out here. Thanks, Darren.
Reading together, 1 John 4, verses 6 to the end. We are of God. He that knoweth God heareth us. He that is not of God heareth us not. Hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and every one that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. In this was manifested the love of God toward us, because that God sent his only begotten Son into the world that we might live through him. Herein is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us, and he sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought also to love one another. No man hath seen God at any time. If we love one another, God dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us. Hereby know we that dwell in him, and he in us, because he hath given us his Spirit. And we have seen and do testify that the Father sent the Son to be the Saviour of the world. Whosoever shall confess that Jesus is the Son of God, God dwelleth in him, and he in God. And we have known and believed the love that God hath to us. God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. We love him because he first loved us. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother, whom he hath seen, how can he love God, whom he hath not seen? And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth God love his brother also.
Thanks, Darren. Sorry, thought I'd forgotten something. Yeah. A huge thanks goes to, if they're watching online as well, to Agape in Action. They do a massive job with the sponsorship, not only in Kenya and Africa, but all the way across the poorest of the nations. This is how we were dressed for most of the occasion. Had a camera pack on the front and the backpack full of supplies. Had 2 or 3 litres of water each for... what's your name? Yeah, Andrew, on the side there as well. So that's how we travelled for 17 days through the country, and we got given at the beginning of the trip. It will be the most dustiest, dirtiest, inhospitable terrain. We're going to have so much issues getting through. It's the wettest that they've ever seen in Kenya. They hadn't seen rain in there since El Nino. And as such, as we go through, there was flooding happened in there on the day that we got stuck. There was in Kenyan floods, we got stuck for 2 days. We couldn't get out, the roads collapsed. There was 1,200 people on that day or that night that lost their homes. And since that, there was about 160,000 people in the region, because they're all mud huts, they all lost their homes as well. So I'll just get out of that one there, into that one there. So flying, this is one for the young people, flying over Qatar. We were actually in the air, so technically we were Air Qatar. So that is Qatar as it coming into land. So overall we took around about 4,500 photos. So sit back, this should be done by midnight, fingers crossed. So the call came out as well to collect some toothbrushes. They wanted toothbrushes to give to the communities and the poorest of the people that don't have. Toothbrushes, as they started out as twigs. So people use twigs to clean their teeth. And it eventually got to the stage that we actually use toothbrushes as the modern day over here. So we collected around about 500 toothbrushes. We went to Kmart and bought 400 of them, but a lot of them had collected or donated through here. Through Golden Grove also, there was a special collection that went out on the Sunday prior to going out, and Steve donated to Agape in Action as well, just over $730 towards Agape. It goes towards mosquito nets, blankets, first aid, hospital trips, petrol to get the families to different locations. Up here, is a is a picture of a bedroom. That's all they have. So they don't have anything else other than a chair, a mat and a mosquito net. So that's our mosquito net that we took with us. We didn't need to use it, but we had mosquito nets. The number one killer in Kenya is actually is malaria. So we're on malaria tablets or anti-malaria tablets for the time that we're over there, and it could kill people. So going over there, this is our team that we went with. Yeah, get it there. So we had Sister Di Green from Sydney, have Maxine Linden, Seth and Jasmine Hall. Then we've got Mel and Jared Skipper and their 2 kids here, us 2, Ali and Dave McCullum, and Deb Flint as the leader of there. So it was all Australian people that went over, which is apparently unusual to have all Australian. This was the second team that went over. The first time they went over, it was first time they advertised, the call went out. the team that they had dropped out. This is the second team of the 13 of us, and we travelled. So each day we split up into two or three teams, and we travelled through the nation of Kenya from one side to the other. So we landed and went to our hotel, which was the Acacia Hotel, which was very nice. Found out the love of chicken wings at the very get out of there. Still won't go. If anyone knows how to work temperamental.
Just the one photo, is it not?
Just the one, yeah. And I'll just explain the whole lot. If you want to interact or ask any questions or anything like that as well, please ask. The more information that you have about donating at the end, if you want to donate or have a sponsored child. Out of this, we got a sponsored child, which is Uchi, is our young girl that we sponsor over there, and another couple of people that sponsor as well through the Golden Grove Ecclesia. So we went from, landed in Nairobi. We flew straight down to Mombasa the next day. We went through the Jomo International, flew via Jumbo Air, and the river that runs through. First look at Mombasa, landed, and it was absolutely teeming with rain. It was so wet and so wet. We had no idea what was in store for us, so we, apart from bogging. So we got our first glimpse of poverty. So these are the houses on the side of the road. So whatever they can find in whatever region, they just got that. We ended up in a Nakumat, which is a supermarket, where we had to stock up with water for the 17 days we were there as well. So we bought 70 litres. Each team bought their own thing, 70 litres. So we had a drinking container for the lot of us as well. So in Nakumat, you can buy hair mayonnaise, which is brilliant, and the chefs give it 4 stars. In Mombasa, the ecclesia down there is the largest denomination of religious, the Christadelphians, is the largest denomination of religious organisations in Mombasa. Overall in Kenya, there's 88 ecclesias and around about 10 or just over 10,000 Christadelphians in there. So Mombasa is the largest. So we met them, these here. Jared, through his company, he purchased these little bouncy balls, and he ordered 500. He got them shipped over there. They say take everything on you because it will be a bit of a hassle getting them through customs, etc. So he had them shipped over there. When he got over there, they had to see each person and pay a bribe to get them out of customs. And in the end, they paid around about 4,000 Australian dollars to get out of our customs instead of about $30 as a release from there. With the ecclesia as well, we had Brother Sammy, which we met down there. He runs Agape in Action overall, so he's always on the phone, always contacting him to see what's going on, what direction. Each ecclesia have elders. If there's too many elders, they shift the elder onto another ecclesia, so you shift away from your family. Other ecclesias where we came in contact with, there was another family. The husband had 2 wives. The first wife came into the truth, went home, told the husband about it. Him and the second wife came into the truth, but they would travel with their 11, 12 kids, but they'd start at 6 o'clock in the morning, travel till midnight, travel the full next day. On the third day, they would reach the ecclesia. So then they would travel the 3 days to get to the ecclesia where they were members of. So they relocated them to their ecclesia. So this is the ecclesia and the young people sitting on one side, and the Westerners, or the Mzungus they call them, crazy white folk, as it's otherwise known as. And then it will sit down for an ecclesial lunch after the Brother Jared had given a talk to the ecclesia. So the ecclesial lunch is something like that. So each table of a group of 4 had some goat tab. Had some goat. They had some tomato and onion, and this here ugali. I tried to cook ugali, but it comes out, it's a form of glue. It's a horrible, non-tasting concoction, which they have. They mix it with, if you have it individually, it's horrible, but if you mix it together, it's quite nice. So down the front, I've cooked up some goat. So if anyone would like to have a shot at having some goat, there's a little bit of rice in there as well. So feel free to come down and grab a sample. I've got 8 samples there. I've also got around about 20 for supper. So if you want to come down and have a shot at having some goat with some rice, it's actually quite nice. I've turned it into a little bit of a ragu. Don't all jump at one at once, but feel free to come down and grab some goat. Yeah, that's the road opposite the Ecclesial Hall. So they're all the supermarkets, the tuk-tuks running here. There's a in amongst. Grab 2, one for you and the wife. So there's. Oh, thank you. So these tuk-tuks, but they clean them. This is all mud and mire, and they have a car wash here, and they wash the tuk-tuks and the cars in the mud and things like that. The Noah van, which is sponsored by Agape in Action, and it's a 6-seater, 7-seater. The indicators could come off, on and off at any random occasion, and it's just a good little van, and that's what Ali and Dave McCallum have over there. We stayed at a place which is the children's home, Amani, at Matendo Children's Home, and down the hill was the Amani, which is the elderly, where the elderly stay. The majority, thank you for that. The majority of the elders or the older people over there have health issues. They have AIDS is rampant. They have a lot of dying and sick people. So they're given the gift of hope, or Amani means peace. So they've gone there to have a go in peace. There was one of the teams went to one of the houses and found a really elderly lady, which she was asleep on a mat, and she couldn't move, and she had grass in the corner. She didn't have any food, so she was eating the grass, which is extremely sad. That's the corner of a room. So as you can see, I had a bed. We had a bed, a chair, and a mosquito net everywhere we went. So that was pretty secure, and our water that we collected or got from the thing. Each spot they have a well. This is bore water, which they use to wash, bathe, clean their teeth, everything. So all their water source comes from that, and then they pump all the water into there. Sister Ruth is one of the elderly. We're in the kitchen area. They have a little incline going into the kitchen. She was on her hands and knees crawling in because she couldn't walk up a little incline. She died last Thursday. Brother Andrew and Brother Simon here. He's 88, and Brother Andrew, Brother Simon was 85, and they had 5 or 6 children each. Their wives had died. And only 1 or 2 of their children are alive. By showing both hands, they're pleased to meet you. So you can wave, but both hands is pleased to meet you and have a good day. So you go down. You can't communicate with them because you don't speak their language, but through charades, through other means of talking to them, or translators, which we had at each occasion, you can actually get your message across. So there's the Mudangoe Children's Home. So and Caribou on this side. I had written out on here a little saying that I was going to say when I came out before, which is Nagudu Ndada the Yaya Watu, Jumbo Karabu, Jiner Lengu Ni Sim, which means brothers and sisters, young people, hello, welcome, my name is Sim. So that we sort of got to know a little bit of the language, however fluent it is. But it's actually, as you see it, is how it actually sounds.
Do they just share one common language?
Swahili is the language, yeah. So a lot of them. But as we were saying, the hello, Andrew and myself were waving out the side of the van. We had a 12-seater van. We're waving to everyone, and all the kids are waving. But you wave. You don't wave like that. That means come here. So we'll go like this to the little kids, and they were running up to the van. They said, "Don't do that. You have to wave or come here." But Brother Sammy was in the front for the majority when we got stuck in the floods, and we were waving at everyone. And he thought the country had gotten more happy. Everyone was they were waving back. He said, "What's going on with everyone?" Until it worked out that we were waving to everybody. It's just a happy occasion. This is the ball where they clean their teeth and have a shower and wash their clothes, and then they hang it on the barbed wire. We'll get to that. They're self-contained in the children's home, so they got turkeys and geese and pigs and cows and chickens, and then they pen them all up at night time in the pen. So as we're going through as well, I was writing down all the spiritual lessons that we could learn out of what we had encountered as well. At night time, they said, the first night, get used to the Kenyan surroundings. There was a party or wedding going on about 20 kilometres away, and the sound was like they were next door to us. And they said it goes for 6 days, and we were there for 6 days. But lucky for us, it only went for the one night. But I asked in the morning what was going on with the noise, and they said they used to have baboons running through and destroying the crops, and so they have night watchmen on there watching over the whole thing. At night time, or before you go for a meal, they would come around with a bucket and a pail for washing your hands. They ploughed the fields, so they'd run with these cows and they'll go to the next field and plough, and then they'll come back and then pen them up at night time. Their kitchen, I think we should install in here for the upgrade. This is the kitchen in the children's home with the little tigers sitting there as well. That's where they cook all their meals. There's no electricity. There was no electricity up till January of this year in the children's home, and then they got the power put on there with generators and everything. Hall renovations. As I said, the different sides packed here. So when they make the house, it's hay, cow or horse poo, as well as all the straw put in there, and then they pack it all in with the bricks with support. But with the floods, the majority of them wash away. When we're travelling, this mountain here was the gauge. So as long as you've got that on the left-hand side of your car, you're going in the right direction. So when we're going out, it was right-hand side, going out, and when we're coming home, we're on the other side of the mountain, that's on the right-hand side. So as long as you got that on the right-hand side, that's your gauge to know where you are, because there's no streets, there's no street signs, there's no street lights, there's no anything. And we got bogged the first day, and we had to push the van, and I frustratingly took my headlamp off, put it in the car, and pushed the car, and the car went up the hill because we were bogged 5 or 6 times attempts getting out, until we realised there's no street lights, and we were stuck in the middle of nowhere, bogged, basically. So that's the road, one of the roads we couldn't get up. That's on an incline of roundabout to get to the ecclesia. So go from the ecclesia, the first team left. They said it's just around the corner. If you walk, you should be able to get there within half hour. That's fine, no worries. Where are we going? You're a little bit further. You're about 4 kilometres away. The first team walked for 5 Ks. We drove for a good hour and a half, and then it was another hour and a half or 2 hours walk because we couldn't get up to this road to get to the ecclesia that we were going to, that's the ecclesial hall. So all the kids came out, took all our possessions, our bags, our water, our camera equipment, and they all took off. And I don't know whether they're Christadelphians or local youths or thugs, but when we got up to the hall, all the equipment was sitting inside the hall neatly, and that's us with Brother Justice. Brother Justice here, and one of the assistants stacking on the head as well. Ali and Dave and myself and Andrew and Sister Di Green. So we walked for a good 12 kilometres to get to the next to the ecclesia. And as you're passing through the communities, all the school kids come out and they want to see these Mzungus walking past. But they're all happy with their lot in life, and they followed. Lucky for me, I had this is ridiculous. That I had probably 12,000 stickers with me, so I gave each kid a sticker. And sometime Deb said, "I know that Sim's about because the stickers have appeared." So all the kids would stick one on their forehead, hopefully before the photos, not after the photos of the sponsorship. And these are the sponsorship kids that we had taken photos of. So you'd say photo, and then they don't have a word for smile, so we say checker. So checker, which means to laugh. So they got nothing to laugh about, so you just wave your hands like you just don't care. This Parani Ecclesia, their little sign for Parani, the entrance to the hall, and this is the hall, is that Parani Hall? Kintaguri Hall. I'm not really up on where we were because I got a little bit confused with the halls and etc. etc. So each hall was so accepting of us. So we'd go down, we'll do our either an exhort. I did 3 exhorts and 7 studies with them, ranging from David and Goliath, the boy who gave up his lunch. Anyone know the story of the boy who gave up his lunch on the front row? No. Boy with 2 loaves and 5 fishes. So just give a little bit of a twist on it. And so the exhortations were on faith or keeping the faith, or they have difficulties with ploughing. The fields would be destroyed. Why is God treating me this way? But it's not in this life that we'll be blessed with. It'll be actually in the life to come. So even though they have nothing apart from this that they call home, we have everything. For instant water, they say, "How far did you go for water at home?" We go 2 foot that way or 3 foot that way. They walk for 12, 13 kilometres to get to water, but they bring it back in a big pail, a big bucket, and then that's shared with the community, and they'll do that 5 or 6 times, carting it on donkeys. I've got a photo of a donkey later on. So along with Brother Justice, we had another 2 leaders as well. This one was Brother Elijah. He was our translator for the exhorts and whatnot. The CBM, proudly sponsor, which is the UK ACBM over there. So they sponsor a lot of those as well. We were to go to a Bible school down in the bottom end of Kenya. Did have that open? Sorry, turn it on. I'll just show you the map of. So when we went, forget that. So these are the anomalies as we're taking photos of all the sponsorship, children, etc. Men would come running past with their cows and sheep to go graze in the next field, so happy snapping with the children, and then something out of left field would come through, so would be taking their cows. Getting to the meetings is quite a chore sometimes, but as long as the rider has a helmet, you should be alright. So that's a family going or coming to the ecclesia. So a bit of a difficulty there too. So some of the children, when you have your camera open and take a photo of them, they haven't seen a photo of themselves or a picture of themselves. The Noah van, the day we were there, got its mirrors smashed off. They wanted the mirrors because they don't have any mirrors. So the mirrors get stolen all the time off cars and that type of thing. So as soon as you take a photo of the kids, they want to see the photos that you're actually taking. Boys, soccer game. Yeah, that's their soccer ball. Once it comes back on, there we go. That's their soccer ball. So they're out in the field playing and mucking around, and they're just happy to be alive or happy to have somebody come and have a chat to you. We were the first team in about 4 years that have actually gone there and given an exhort or given a lecture. Or just words of encouragement. And this is the ecclesial hall inside, and it's looking towards the platform side of things. Bit disconcerting when you're having the meals at the ecclesial halls as well, because you'll be sitting at the front. They would serve the meal, so when you're finished, the ecclesia would then eat. We're sitting up here while we have 400 people look at us eating. So we sort of chose the chairs at that side facing there, so we didn't actually. I felt really odd eating while people were staring. Anyway, with the sponsorship children, a photo barua would be a letter, barua. So they would write a letter to their sponsorship, and that's when the kids with the younger children, the older ones, and they just draw a picture of a cat or a car or something. They don't really. Anything at all. Anyway, this here is the ecclesial lunch. Oh, there we go. Good on you, Google. This here is the ecclesial lunch. The memorial meeting, given the exhort here. Funny story. When I'm trying to do the talk, there was a little gecko running around the table through here. So the chairman or the translator got up and he's chasing this gecko, and he flicked it off and it climbed back on and it was climbing around he was more worried about getting this gecko off than and he was translating at the same time, so multitasking. So that was quite good. As the collection bag goes around at the ecclesia, they burst into song. So there's no piano, no organ, no music. All the children sit at the back of the hall, and this brother here has a stick, and he stops all the children from walking in and out of the hall. So he'll give a little reprimand. No, you go sit back down. So it's just some of the older generations with the children. And also the greetings that we got as well. The handshakes go on for ages. They had fist bumping and chest bumping and touching the chin on each other on the shoulders as a greeting. And it's just they welcomed us with open arms, which is absolutely brilliant. There's some of the other sisters in the ecclesia, and we noticed the divide with the ecclesias as they have. Men sit on one side of the ecclesia, and the women sit on the other side of the ecclesia as well. One of the things that we did on each occasion that we visited the 12 ecclesias that we visited was give a bucket, which we had bucket showers the time we were over there as well. We washed our clothes in it, and that's how we had a bucket shower with cold water standing in the bucket. So it's only a 2-minute shower. So if you want to implement them at home as well, absolutely brilliant. But we gave a bucket, and they had soap, toothbrush, a towel, and washing soap in each bucket as well. And that was handed to each ecclesia. This is a no-no in Kenya. Females aren't to give affection to the male in public. So when there was gasps with it, but Di is out there and she just hugged everybody. It's no, you need to embrace, you're my brother, you're my sister. We all embrace each other. So that's the gift that we gave to each family. So there's one toothbrush per family, one cloth per family, and this is the bucket that we had a shower in. So we stood there, had the bucket, and we tipped the cold, or if on the odd occasion they would heat it up on the flames for some hot water. So Sister Ali McCallum, or Ali Wigsell as some might know, Di Green, Andrea, and 2 other sisters. They run 2 programs as well. There's a sponsorship, and there's the Adashinda program, which runs from when they finish school right up to where they actually join and go to college. One of the young men that was doing the Adashinda program had shifted from Mombasa, and he went up to another spot. When he landed, he got bashed. So he was a foreigner in a foreign land, and he actually got bashed. So Agape would come to the aid, go to the hospital or take him to the hospital, get him checked out, and then put him, and he's just there by himself. He hasn't got any family support or anything. Agape also sent forward and gave him a goat or a chicken or the drinks, or gave them some money to buy this. So as we come, this is the ecclesial meal. So that all the kids would line up for their drinks. They had a drink nutrition program which they started as well. All the kids don't eat in the mornings or during the night or during the day. So all the kids would turn up to the local ecclesia, and they would give them a nutritional drink. Just a Sunday school under a tree, singing. So everywhere we went, they would give us a celebration of their life in Kenyan style. So either an Eastern or a Western toilets over here. So we had the Eastern toilets, which is the Chinese, or China, as they say. China had the program for building the roads, so they building most of the roads going through there. So that's the ecclesial hall here, so a massive drop. But yeah, all the locals came and they were standing here, and we had photos, and all the school kids were doing their... Yes.
You have blue right around the hall, you have the columns painted blue, you have the entrance painted blue. The white covering for the memorial meeting's got a blue band around it. Out of Muslim culture, the jinns, the demons, the devils, the little spirits are kept away by the blue.
Okay.
So it's been transferred from that other culture.
And kept at bay.
You've got the blue ribbon out of the book of numbers around the bottoms of your garments. But that's why there's blue. And the women will have a bit of blue on them as well. Blue wrap around their head or blue on their costume as well. Is to keep away the jinns and the demons,
the evil spirits. Okay, yep, that's interesting. Something I didn't know. And also, each ecclesia that we went to as well, we didn't have time to see the different ecclesia and the different culture. We were only there for 5 or 6 hours, and we had to go. Daylight faded around about 4 o'clock. There is Alicia and Luke's sponsorship child. He followed us for a good 5 or 6 kilometres, walking with us, and then he'd turn around and walk off as well and go join his family. So and there's Brother Justice and I. We fitted 9 people in the back of a Pajero. So it's Brother Justice and myself in the back of a Pajero. As the seats didn't work, and there's some of the young people from the ecclesia. Agape in action, sign for one of the ecclesias. Can't read it without my glasses on. There we go. Outside the ecclesial hall, the kids would just mill about, and some of the kids younger than 4 or 5 hadn't seen a white person before, and we had a lot of them actually scream because we were going up and taking their photo. Can I take your photo? And they'll scream and run off to mum and dad. So the mum and dad.
There's the touches of blue.
Yes.
Blue all the way around.
All the way around, as well as the CVN with the I hadn't noticed. Thank you. Put it in my notes. So each ecclesial hall was given through Agape a water tank here. So we'd put an Agape sign on there. That's just the pump or something underneath. And I was fascinated with this building. I was taking photos of it for a long time. The kids were playing soccer and all that kind of thing, until it was pointed out to me it's actually a toilet block. So I thought, what a massive, that's a really good structure in the middle of nowhere, toilet block. Well done. Kids, graffiti at the hall. Bible. We had finished in the ecclesia, we'd come back. We had joined the other group, the other ecclesia that hadn't finished their exhortation or their study. So we joined in. That's another ecclesial hall that we visited. The seating, we noticed a lot of the plastic seating with the ecclesias. Another young man, Brother Lazarus, here. He was one of our translators, and this is Brother Adam, and they're sorting out the corn, sorting out the wheat from the chaff. So that's their corn, and they go through. That's the throw things as well here. That they take it up and they throw it, and all the wind would take all the chaff out of the thing. So each day we'd go out into the field, come back at night time, join, and go up and join all the young people at the children's home. There's probably at any time there's probably 50 young people at the thing, and it's they've just got pigs and chickens and ugly things, turkeys. Brother Sammy's house with a couple of cows walking past. This cow was yelling. I don't know what he was yelling, but it was in Swahili. So he was screaming. There's Brother Lazarus. Caught him mid tongue poke at Brother Elijah, and there's Brother Elijah travelling with us as well. This is the dorm at the children's home. So there's 50 children, and there's 6 beds. So a lot of them roll up their swags or roll up their things, lay them out, and they're all over the floor. So all the young people. So when if you are to donate to Agape, they actually supply bedding for them. They give them clothes, they give them food, they give them a nutrition program, and they are blessed with a lot of things. So they got a thing here. So they got waking up, they got prayer time, breakfast, church, chores, and then they go to bed at night time. But when we were there, it's 10:30, 11 o'clock. We did a meditation with them, just a basic life on living, how to live in this world and not be of it, or anything like that. So I've got all the studies in here if you want to have a look afterwards, plus the itinerary of all the where we went. So this is the main street going through the town, and all the people. You don't travel after night time because A, it's dark, and B, why don't you travel at night time? Because it's dark. Yeah, you can't see them. So there's hundreds of people. No one has cars, so there's hundreds of people walking the streets to get to the next destination. You don't drive at night time because the 80% of the chance you're going to hit someone. We visited a school. It was school holidays, so all the kids got into their school uniforms and came along to the school and did a life in the day of singing of the school. So as we got to each ecclesia, So the
Short of bases.
yes, a lot of tenors, no basses. So they went through the life, and they're just reading out the school books. The teacher wrote up on the classroom. The classroom goes from age 4 up to 12, and so they've only got 3 or 4, 7. So they only got X amount of students per class, and that's the teacher there in their classroom. So they are doing numbers. She wrote it up the top of the thing there. I'm pulling him up, and he's just writing on the board. So she wrote it pretty high for them to actually jump up and write their number up here on the screen. Also, we judged from when we got there what day it was by how many pants I went through as well. So the humidity got into them if you stretched or walked, or I went through about 4 pairs of pants. So lucky I took extra. They were my favourite. This is the maths class, and the teacher here, they do multiplication. So he did 4 times 3, so he'd do 3 boxes with the 4 zeros in them. So it's just the basic. And a lot of them want to be accountants or pilots. So they're pretty happy to see us. And then they did song and dance for us everywhere, and that's the school. Very photogenic. The children, when they join school, they shave their head from when they start school, the girls and the boys, right up to actually when they leave school, because the hair is vain. You don't spend any time on your appearance. The education is number one. So if you're spending more time on your hair, less time either worshipping or spending time with that. So there's the kids.
Education in English?
A lot of it is in English. A lot of it is in Swahili. All the signs and things were in English. So I think it's the second language. They teach them English. So when they get to like Brother Lazarus or Elijah, they then translate. They can translate and go into different fields, go into the employment, and go into what they want to do for their chosen field when they leave. The goat program as well, I'll get to that a little bit later as well, some of the goats that they brought along. The shepherd would bring in the goats into the area, and they'll give it to the poorest of the families first. Once the goat has kids, the goat is passed to the next least poorest person. So the person that's sleeping on the ground gets one before the person that has a mattress, because that's the gauge of how poor they actually were. So again, the sisters preparing our lunch, and there are as well. Happy to see you, and very all join in, all colourful, and there's pouring the water. These here, they have them on their heads as they carry through the villages as well. I think this one's full of rice, so it also stunts their growth with so they're not very tall at all. This is another ecclesial hall that we poured into. A Matawalanga Ecclesial Hall, quite colourful. At the end of it, they gave this Sunday school. While they were doing Sunday school, I would give a lecture or an exhort or a study, as well as the photos for the sponsorship. So it's a pretty full-on day. Then they'll go somewhere and find somewhere to write and do their barua for everything. Local coconuts. We've got a coconut everywhere we went, freshly cut. From that, so then we took over some tennis balls in the air somewhere. Took over some tennis balls over there as well, and that was to break the ice with the young people. So and that's the ecclesial hall from the back. So they got the well, we say get the water from, and that's the ecclesial hall. And we gave them some fresh coconuts, and I got given what I thought was an orange. Take it, and you went to peel it, and it was actually a lime. So they gave me a lime, and I took a mouthful of lime. So everywhere we went, just update, I put an Agape in Action. So every dollar that is spent on Agape in Action, they actually donate back into the field. And even with the GOAT program, or any program that they have, or Gifts of Hope is another one. So And that's the packing of the wall. For it's pretty sound structure to their standards. There they are with the banana plantation. So each family got a banana or banana tree, and then they take that home and load that, get it loaded, and then that's the ecclesial lunch. So this time it was mixed. So we had the goat, potatoes, and the rice with that. Tab, do you want to get the next one out for me? The tray, and Taylor. With this is the sisters preparing the meal, so they showing us how it is edible, and you can have a go at eating that, and they're pretty chuffed. This is inside the children's home, so they have this auditorium as such, and they play the games and they do different things. They only got power in January this year, so they've been without power up until this point of time, and then the power cut out one night we were there, pitch black. Generator kicked in eventually with the solar panels, etc., which is the gift of hope. Brother Andrew, Brother Simon, myself, and this young fella, I can't remember his name, but he had an abscess on his finger, and I saw it, and it was just absolutely angry, this thing. And I mentioned to Deb what's going on. Anyway, he had to go out and get a course of antibiotics, and it cleared up, but he looked like he was actually going to lose his hand or lose his finger. That's how bad the sore was. Another pair of shorts I lost. Washing dishes after our lunch. The sister there, this is Amani, back at Amani. The elderly, they built a new block on there as well, just the cows. A spiritual lesson, unevenly yoked. These are the yoke on the oxen. Thanks, Tab. And the children on here. While I'm doing this, going through, this is a delicacy in some cultures. I have in ice to mix. There's a cow. You tap the cow. You get the blood of the cow. You then mix it with the milk. So if anyone would like to come and check out, jump all at once. I'll do the 8 there, just in case. It is quite fresh, but it is 100% safe. 80% safe that it is quite safe. 60, I would say 52% safe. Do you want to tap? Just tip a little bit of that. That's actually cow blood in there. So yep, there you go. You want the day off? That's good. That's actually good. That's a Kenyan cow. That's been migrated over. So yeah, just tip a little bit of each one. In there. So if you want to try, that is entirely safe to drink, and that's a delicacy in their culture. And if you want some as well afterwards, I can give you that. Is another ecclesial hall which they have, sound structure, and they use this for the Sunday school, for the exhorts, for the whole program. Ali said to me, "Do you want to see how fresh your food is for lunch?" Sure, it's over there. So up the top of the hill, there's a sister getting our lunch ready. It's on there, so we know it was fresh. She actually killed it and plucked it in front of us and cooked it up. The young people at the school. This school is actually sponsored by the Aberfoyle Park Ecclesia. So the Ecclesia got together and built this new school building. They got 8 rooms, 8 bedrooms in there. 8 school rooms in there. So they got a teacher in there. All the kids come out. The sister, this is the kitchen. The sisters cook. The men don't do anything. This is Magomi Ecclesia. Yes. So the sisters go out, collect all the wood, cook all the food, and then that's our ecclesial lunch, cooked over big pots, and all the sisters there. Gets quite smoky in there. This is the goat program that I was saying before. So inside the goat program, they have whether they've given a male or female, what colour the goat is, any kids from the goats, and then something else on that side. So they write down this is the poorest of the people until everyone gets a goat, and then they hand out from the kids. They hand out the goats, the kid to the next person, and the friendships just continue. Brother Elijah. There's the picture of the Aberfoyle Park sponsored hall that they built. The rooms there. This is Sunday school. Darren. This is Sunday school. So Sister Ali did the sower, sowing the seed. So there's probably 300 children joined us for that. And there's Brother Elijah, Brother Lazarus introducing Sister Ali doing the ecclesia. That's me handing out the stickers here. So the fellas have all the stickers on there. Once again, the ecclesial lunch. Goat, rice and potatoes, and then it's their time to celebrate with us and give us a bit of a tasting of So something to think about for prize giving, Darren as well. The children will learn a song and we can all come into a single file. So imagine with 300 children and they're walking through the hall and they're given a demonstration of their culture, and then they speed it up and they do faster songs and different dancing and there's the Andrea, first white person meeting a child that is actually petrified. There's my stickers come out again. So as long as everyone had a sticker, they were happy. Whether or not we stayed behind, we're waiting for the van to arrive. So we taught the kids Incy Wincy Spider, and we played a game with them as well with the ball. And once again, the little girl had a sticker on her forehead. That's the opposite the ecclesial hall. This is someone's house, and they caretake for that ecclesial hall and the school, and then they got a male and female Chinese. There's brother Sammy, brother Christine. When we arrived, Sister Christine had something like malaria, something similar. Brother Sammy wanted us all in there, all 13 people in her hospital room. So we all went into the hospital room and we did a little prayer for her, and we sang. This sister here, she's now in charge of the Adashinda program over there, and she's gone through through that. This is Sister Christine's shop, so she's got a haberdashery shop on the main strip. That's the main street on there. Can you see what the price is on that one? $11,411 to fill up our van, which is about $60. That's went to the Pirani Hall. Something sad about the Pirani Hall. The government would come through and they're demolishing people's houses, which we'll get to. The government wants to widen the road. They got 3 days warning. The Pirani Hall got given 1 month to shift their hall. So they had to chop the hall and extend the back of it and then plug it up at the front. And I was talking to Brother Elijah, and he said everything's done, everything's happy, we're good, we've finished, we've done the ecclesial hall, and it took them probably a week to relocate their hall or chop it, and otherwise the government would just come through and demolish. That's the ecclesial hall there. So they would demolish this entire front section and move it right back into there. So they got chickens and things, etc. Bit of a sad day. I lost around about 700 photos on that day because it was so hot. My camera froze, my phone froze, everything. So I lost about 700 photos on there. So that's the young people ecclesial lunch. Once again, giving out the gifts to the ecclesia. Then the exhort. Got Elijah down here, translator. Kids would gather. Then we went to this ecclesia, this sprightly sister, put on a demonstration. These boys here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they all sent them in a one, and I had to write down what number they were. So they sent them all in a row, and I lost all their faces. I said, can you send me someone with a black shirt in between the yellow so I know where they start and where they stop. So so that's the Sunday school put on a bit of a demonstration. This is the maize farm. In between the maize, they put peas and beans so they can double their crop. And then they met at this ecclesial hall, which is the Godo Ecclesia. So the young people came out and ran to our van. So they got a visitor, so therefore they need to come out and join the van. Jumbo! We try not to run over any of them as we're going through. So as soon as we hop out, shaking everyone's hands, it's easier to do a high five or a fist bump. So Sister Deb shook everyone's hand out of 300 people. It takes a little bit of time to do that. So that's the Godo Ecclesia, ecclesial hall. Need a little bit of a repair, but all the money donated through Agape, like I said, is put into these halls, building up the halls, all the kids lining up for the nutrition program, and the kids absolutely love it. It's a porridge mixture with nuts and berries and everything that they need to actually sustain, because they don't get anything to eat. They don't go to the fridge or cupboard, get a snack out. This is their one meal for the week maybe. So they all line up, and then we got the sisters got given Agape in Action T-shirts. Is the Godo Nursery School. Bit of building repair. They put a chair to hold the veranda down, and then the shepherd came along with his goats, and then there's a bit of picture, a bit of disrepair for to the hall, and that's inside the ecclesial hall. Once again, it's just it's all open, all airy, so no one can get in. So the ecclesia came in and did the Sunday school, handed out the goats. So then each sister or the lowest get given a goat. They grab them either by the horn or by the leg and drag them along. Got given a toothbrush. They didn't know which end to use, so they just stuck on the end of the toothbrush. So in one of the schools, there we go. In one of the schools, we had to demonstrate how to use a toothbrush, because they'd never seen one before, and drinking ball water, it eats away their teeth. So a lot of their teeth are fallen away. Deb went out to this place. I don't know how they found it, but it's the middle of nowhere, dusty, dirty, scraping through thorns on trees to get to this one place. This is the Maasai, or the sisters of the Maasai come out here. The brothers, the husbands aren't members of, I don't think. Anyone know what this is? It's a gourd. So they carve out the gourd, fill it with baby's milk, and that was her baby, and that was her baby's milk. Then they got the ecclesial kitchen, where they make and prep all the food. Then the Maasai I was fascinated with the tribe. But one of the sisters on one of the other journeys, agape trips, she brought her husband and his entire tribe. So the Maasai, if you don't know, are the ones that jump up and down, and they got the spears, and they're quite fierce warriors. They can kill a lion with their hands and that type of thing. So the once again, the nutrition program is on there. The men stay over one side and the women stay over the other side, and neither the two shall mix. There's a lady telling the boy to get in the line. And then that's the ecclesial hall at Ben Zawani. So it's a Zawani ecclesia. Deb Flint went over there, and her son Ben wanted to do something for the Zawani ecclesia, so they renamed it Ben Zawani. So if you see that, it's named after Ben Flint. So in this place as well, there's the brothers. The sisters prepare all the meals. We had all the children that haven't done the nutrition program here. They wanted to start it, so they had a weight station, a height station, and a medical check. Write it all on a board, and then they will monitor that from year to year. So there's the toothbrushes heading out and there's the brother here. He had his hand fixed, and he was on antibiotics, fixing all that. And to get to the ecclesia, you might see one of these. Easy ecclesia, no pedals, no anything. It's a broken seat, and that's how they get to the ecclesia, and they ride kilometres on there. So then all the school kids sat down. We handed them out. There we are with the pails of water on there. Handed out, and this is the weight station. So Sister Deb and Ali McCallum sat here, and they got given a piece of paper. So I did the height. Andrea wrote down on a piece of paper the kid's name. Then they went through the medical checks. There we are with the thing there. And then any medical checks, any white spots on their tongues, or any lesions or anything on their hands or feet, or one of the kids had something similar to sepsis, which they got him to a hospital and got him checked out and saved his life, basically, thanks to Agape in action. So the weight station. This is one of the Maasai sisters. They used to do the hoops in the ears, and now they mark the face. Instead of doing the ears, they've changed the culture, and so they mark their face now with their markings. The weight station, this little fella didn't want to get weighed, so we weighed the mother, and then we weighed the mother again without holding the baby, just to get the weight of the child, approximately. And there's the love between with the kids. That's the ecclesial hall as well, with the Ben Zawani. So we didn't do anything there apart from the nutrition program, and we did the goat program, handed out to the poorest of the people. There's all the with their pet goats, and the sisters there. Get through. That's Sunday school at Ben Zawani. So they had to get all the Sunday school together and do a weight, height, etc. check, and then everyone walked away with a toothbrush. And they're pretty happy. Leaving each ecclesia as well, they gave us a gift. We gave them toothbrushes, a bowl, etc. They gave us a gift, whether it was a goat, Chokochama was the goat's name, which means tasty meat. They gave us a chicken, limes, coconuts, which went back to the children's home. So we donated everything back to them. So this is the handing us a chicken, and this is their celebration in handing us a chicken. Ecclesial lunches. I starved on that day. That was the presenting of a chicken, and then the sisters all gave us a dance. going through. So we went from there back to the children's home. At the end of the children's home, we put on a bit of a concert for them, a bit of a celebration. So we tried the Mexican wave with them. I demonstrated what to do with the Mexican wave. So it started off okay, and then it stopped. So we some translations.
Both hands.
And then I was going to get some this demonstrated tonight as well, which is a little bit hard, but they fishers of men. So I will make you fishers of men. I will make you fishers of men. So on the F, the females stand up. On the M, the men stand up. So fishers of men. So fishers, the females stand up. Men stand up. I will make you fishers of men. Fishers of men. That's Adam, which is Samuel's son. He leads the young people. Down there. So that's the demonstration, and then we had to do the didn't really work as according to plan. So this is where we stayed. So Mudingoyi Children's Home, and you walk through the path here. This is washing day, so they're washing on the barbed wire, and we're up at the a mining up the top. This is wheat in bags, Hessian bags. Took them off the truck and put them there. Letter writing for the kids. This little girl, Ceedy, she arrived at one of the ecclesias where we were, and she didn't make a sound. She had fallen off her dad's motorbike. So said something's not right. She's not moving her arm. She didn't scream. Wasn't making a noise at all. Turned out she had actually severely fractured her shoulder and her elbow, and it took them a while because she's poor. She didn't have the best of care. They wouldn't take care of her because she didn't have any money. So once again, Agape came to the rescue. Paid, it was only $1,000, $2,000 for that. So had the arm reset. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to use her arm, and that's her dad. We took her from the camp where we were back to Amani, the children's home, and then off to the hospital. Main street strip in there. Speed humps, sugar farms. So, all the local kids come out to say hello. This is another ecclesial hall where we were. There's all the sisters and the children on one side, and all the men on the other side of the ecclesial hall. So this is I did an exhortation or a study on feeding the 5,000. The Sunday school did feeding the 5,000, and then that's the ecclesial hall there. We travelled in this van all around the place, and writing the sponsorships, little kids, and for the ecclesial lunch. I'll get to that, I think. For the ecclesial lunch, we had fishes and bread, so it just so happened to be that. Malaria is number one of the killers over there, so they handed out mosquito nets. A lot of them don't have mosquito nets and they die of malaria. So the Agape, through Gifts of Hope, gave out all the young people, all the mosquito nets to each member of the ecclesia. So this is one of the hymns. Very melodic, a lot of melody with it, and they don't need an organ or a piano to keep tune. They sing it with the hymns were different to each location as well. Did you want to get the next one, Tab? It's on the stove. Just put it onto the plate. So each member got a thing. We did. There we are. There's the bread and the fish. So and the bananas, which once again I starved. I have a phobia of bananas. So just in amongst all the, as we're travelling, all the monkeys in the trees. This is another ecclesial hall. Everyone came and sang for us and demonstrated. I'll skip past that. So all the young people, and then that's quite a big ecclesial hall. In one of them that we arrived at the week prior, they had 11 baptisms as well. So they would go out and find a puddle or a creek or something like that. So they got some of those there as well. All right, so this one here is crocodile. So if anyone wants to taste any crocodile, I have cooked up this afternoon. So there's some toothpicks if you want to take the toothpickies and everything. So yeah, so if you want some crocodile, come and have a taste of some of the delicacies. So the ecclesial lunch, fresh coconuts. So this is what I was saying before. They were going through and demolishing, and as we were going through, we thought there was a festival going on. But the amount of people walking down the side of the road at night, at night time, you would hit these people, or during the day. But as we were going through, we realised that the government was just demolishing their houses, so they had nowhere to go. So they're travelling kilometres to get to the next occasion or next place. So this is the destruction that the government's doing. There's no relocation, there's no Centrelink, there's no anything. They need to get all their belongings and get to the next thing. If the rubbish is piling up, there's a marketplace. If the rubbish is piling up on the side of the road, there's just set fire to it and add to it. So all the animals and tyres and etc. Then we're down nearly to the end. We travelled from down to across the port of Mombasa. That's our boat to go across the port of Mombasa. All the cars get on there, and then all the people flood through. If you can see, kids, what he's doing with this one. The port of Mombasa, they blame terrorism on anything that goes on, so they have AKs guarding the port. For the young people, Jacob, Jared, anyone, if you want to hot up your car, this is what you do to your car. Each van is like this, and it's all covered in spiritual things like David and Goliath or a quote of anything. So you jack up the back tyres or you travel in, once it gets to the thing. Nothing. That's the end of the slideshow. If anyone knows how to fix it. How do you do that, young Mike? Some sort of
That's connection.
pick up? Okay. So that's how they travel with their loads. They put them onto a could you pull it out and flip it around? Is that?
No.
Yep. So it's travelling around. So the traffic, you always give way to the biggest vehicle. So PS, it's not crocodile, it's actually squid, but it's got the same texture as crocodile. So enjoy. So we had a taste of, after everything, that Dusty Dirty came to a little oasis down in Mombasa, and this is our hotel down in Mombasa, and the beach, the salamander and the sellers, etc. Camel ride for a cost. There's a guy called Dr. Heller back in the 70s. He got a disused quarry and he turned it into an animal sanctuary. So he went down, checked out all the animals down here. There was a hippo and a turtle that had a friendship. Mazie and Owen was his name. So they joined forces, and the hippo had got away from its herd, and the hippo and the turtle had their friendship, and they used to walk around together. But just in amongst that, there's monkeys when you're feeding the animals and whatnot. All the monkeys come down and steal all just some holiday photos. There's Brother Sammy having a well-earned rest. Water buffalo, monkeys, more monkeys. And then the giraffes come, and then you can buy feed and feed them. And there's and the things, slobbering things. So the monkeys go down. So there you go. There's a little baby monkey. There's Owen. He's the hippo. And there's the other one, and that's Mazee. He's the friend of the hippo. Where you get your pedicure, manicure, and then walking down to the beach, past the shanties. We went down to Tanzania, or Tanzania for those who haven't got up on Tanzania. They go down to Tanzania. We visited the ecclesia of Tavita. So this is travelling down to Tavita. We travelled for about an hour and a half in the car, get down to the place where we were going, and then we got told we have to hop on the back of a motorbike. So we bought all the supplies, and there's the Peace Sportswear. So we hopped on the back of a motorbike, and we travelled to the ecclesia for about another 2.5 hours through terrain like that. So no car's going to get through. That's the ecclesial hall at Tavita. The repair to the top, just to stop the weather getting in, and someone was blessed with a motorbike to get through through there. Here we gave the ecclesial lunch. They put on the ecclesial lunch and an exhort as well, playing Duck Duck Goose there. Once again, the donations and feeding time. And I got told off here at the ecclesia for actually going to help them with handing out the food. It's not a male's spot to go and help on there. Eve sinned, therefore Adam was a partaker of the sin. Therefore Adam being myself, are not allowed to help the woman give the food because Eve sinned in the Garden of Eden. So that was I got told off there, and that's their thing. We handed out the gifts again, the bowls to the ecclesia, and then once again having a look, take a photo. Brother Sammy, can I get the other one as well now out of the fridge? The little things. Got another one here. This is roasted goat's liver. This was a delicacy handed out to the ecclesia, prepared by this sister. Brother Sammy absolutely loved it, but we were a little bit hesitant locking up your animals at night times into the hedge. This one here, if you want to just hand it out, this is goat's liver. So if anyone would like a piece of goat's liver, help yourself. So otherwise Andrea would miss out on it. So we hopped on the back of a motorbike to go down to the ecclesia. I'm just in awe of these mountains and just the terrain. And it was the first time we actually saw Mount Kilimanjaro as well. It was a clear day. On the side of the road we see cows, sheep, etc. We saw giraffes and zebras, like flocks of zebras. So this is our trip to get to the Tavita Ecclesia. On the back of a motorbike, travelling this one track and just travelling down to get to this ecclesia. On the way down was not too bad. On the way back, the fella wanted to be sponsored, and he wanted me to sponsor him and me to go out there and pay for him and his education and his house and his wife and his children, and pay for a car and pay for his overseas trips. And at the end I said, yeah, that's fine, I'll take your number. So I took his number just out of politeness, but if I said at the very outset that I'm not going to do anything for you, I think it would have done a mono, kicked us off the back, and away we went. Another one of the outhouses, brilliant view, looking out the back there. So this is the introduction of Swahili with the English.
I am Diana from Sydney, Australia.
Yeye ni Diana kutoka Sydney, Australia.
I'm very happy to have had time in Kenya meeting the brothers and sisters.
Amefurahi sana kuwa Kenya kukutana na ndugu na dada.
And your Sunday school and your young people have been wonderful.
Anasema watoto wenu wa Sunday school na vijana ni watu wa ajabu kabisa.
that's the introduction to us. So here they like interaction, so during the exhort I'll get them to read passages of the Bible, and they're too quick to turn up and borrowing everyone else's glasses to have a look at the Bible and read. That's the Tavita Ecclesia, the elders and the small little monkey clinging on to the mum down the front here. So, and then very, very happy ecclesia. There's the ecclesia. Travelling through, we then needed to meet with the CBM ecclesia, CBM that had gone over there and set up a Bible school. We got stuck in the floods, so we couldn't get through. So we stopped at a truck stop because the driver couldn't drive anymore. He's been driving 13, 14 hours. He couldn't drive anymore, so he pulled into a place. There's an emancipated dog. So there's Mount Kilimanjaro that's the only clear shot that we got during the whole time. There's a flock of zebras, Your Honour, there we are. So that was our hotel for the night. It was a jail cell, so as we call it. So you had to undo the thing from the inside through the handle and then lock it on the thing. Pardon? Oh, very secure. There's multiple times that we didn't feel safe enough to actually travel through, lock up your things and don't have your cameras on display and don't anything. But that was just a personal feeling. But we stayed in this hotel, which is, we call it the prison. So it resembled a prison. In the morning, travelled. Some were happy, some weren't. Brother Sammy hadn't had his coffee yet, and this is the bridge that we crossed over, and then the floods came. There's you can see all the vultures here, so there must be something dead down here. There's vultures flying around overhead, and each spot have a thing. So we're going to go see this, see the Bible school. I should be wrapping it up. Went to a children's home, the Matendo Children's Home. Brother Moses runs it with another brother. So the dorms. That's the lookout. That's the TV River, which flooded and burst its banks, but it's up on this children's home's up on a hill. So drink of the water of life, written on the tank. So everywhere that we went, they had spiritual lessons. That's the garden shed, the trowels in the tree, and agape in action. Mud bricks, making a house. In here, that housed 12 children. How many beds? There's 4. So the children shared 2 or 3 per bed here. So they're actually granted through Agape to buy more land. And they're going to build a boys' dorm, and this is going to become the girls' dorm.
The floors concrete?
Here they were, yes. There's the majority of them are concrete. Out in the middle, like the Matawalunga, there was probably 2 or 3 that had mud because it's so far in the middle of nowhere and travelling times, and you couldn't get anything through. So all over the school's written all these things, preparing our goat for our meal. Still, there's food here if you want to come up and sample. Tea, and then we had some bread. We stayed in this place. This is our hotel for the night because we got flooded in, and the guy had a grand idea of building this massive hotel. He was for UK, build this massive hotel. No one came, so left to ruin. So they created these things here. At the Sunday school, I didn't know what they were, so I wrote to the Australian Museum and worked out. Anyone want to guess? Hazard a guess of what they actually are? Sorry? No. Cricket. Yeah, they're a king cricket. So we said we're in this place in Ikuta, and they said they don't travel past South Africa. They shouldn't be up that high, but we saw 2 or 3. But they said they have a sting of a scorpion and they can kill you straight away. So I didn't touch it. Had I known it was cricket, I could have played with it. So so the kids, that's just the kids eating, sleeping chicken. And that's the Ikuta on the side of the road. and that's getting through. We couldn't get through based on the mud and mire, and that's the opposite direction. So it's east direction. We're a foot down in mud, and we couldn't get through. Here's the donkeys carrying the water. This is a small town, isolated. We did not feel safe at all, and I was going to get rumbled by a couple of fellas that said, "Hey, look, follow me down this dark alley." No, thanks. That was our hotel, and the school kids, I hand out stickers to them. Everyone gets a sticker, which is brilliant. And there's the road that I showed earlier. The flood came through, washed it away. This road is meant to be up here, so no traffic is going to get through on this here. Washed everything away, so all the Chinese lost their shipping containers, graders, diggers, everything got destroyed and washed away. And there's the road there. Show you length there. There's Brother Sammy. Yeah, he was directing all the traffic to get through it. Very, very heated. Very something or other. Keep Akuta clean. They actually loved Obama. Everywhere there was we love Obama. There was Obama stickers. There was everything, and you can't touch this on there for the young kids. That was travelling through the Ford. So instead of travelling the new road, just flicked straight through. We came across this truck that had been stuck for 3 days here, trying to get this four-wheel drive out, and the sandbags had sunken through, so it took us probably 4 hours to get through here, and then through a swollen Ford to get through there. And this is a bread truck. I thought it was a shed, but it wasn't until we got up to there. There was a bread truck being washed off the road, and everyone going through. So this is the remnants of the storm that came through and destroyed everything. The bread truck. Nairobi infrastructure, so you see the humpies and then you see the brand new buildings that they're building for the government. All the money goes back in, that's the traffic going back into Nairobi. There's a museum. And then we went down to the Cliff Valley, the Rift Valley, up to Nakuru Ecclesia, which is the sponsor, another sponsor. So the thick cloud through there, baboons on the side of the road here. And the driver had a stick next to him, so he beats off the baboons that climb all over the car, and you just travel 500 metres, there's a spoon drain or a speed hump, so you can't travel very far on the side of the road. A couple of zebras, etc. The Nakuru Ecclesia, behind brick things here. So they've got spiritual themes. We handed out gifts of hope, the blankets, to the ecclesia, and then the Sunday school sang us a song, then did the nutrition program. So while Brother Jared was doing the exhort, I was going around photographing. They had the Sunday school with doing all the Sunday school. There's Brother Jared on 2 Peter 2, 2 Peter 1. The ecclesia listening, I think that was the ecclesia that had 11 baptisms in the previous week as well. So there's the Sunday school, Sister Jasmine doing the Sunday school there, Brother Jared, and then the washing of the hands before the meal, the gifts of hope, and that's the whole ecclesia back into the hall. They put on a song and dance, and it went for a couple of hours. We didn't stay long because once the sun goes down, it starts getting dark. So we handed out Bibles to those that had finished their Adashinda program, and also with the blankets handed out, and then we left. This is run by Brother Joseph here, and his wife, Sister Mary. So Mary and Joseph in Nakuru. So that was then the Sunday school sang us a song, clean up afterwards. These here, gifts of hope as well, these knitted jumpers. So they go, even though it's 40 degrees, they still got jumpers. Hats and beanies, and he passed out. So going back to Nairobi, went on to the safari. So I got flooded in safari. There's a rhino, right knees down, gazelle, buffalo, eagle, giraffes. There's the thorns. There's a lioness. She was chasing a gazelle across the road while we're there. Wildebeest, hartebeest, sorry. Secretary birds. Buffalo, wagtail. This is a weaver bird, butterfly, Maasai. Everything's for money, and a warthog. Then on the last night we got together and we went out to carnivore, which is like the jungle at North Adelaide, and they have everything on here. So we have beef, pork, barbecue ribs, beef. Where's the other things up there? Here we go. Crocodile, ostrich, rabbit, ox. So we had a list of that, and once you finished all your food, then you lay down your flag. That means you surrender to all the food. And there's the picture of the beast. So that was the end. So that was coming to the time. That's the overview. Hope you enjoyed that. I went a little bit over time, but it's all good. So if you donate whatever you can, if you want to sponsor, please do so. Every coin goes back into Agape. Every cent really goes towards the organisation, goes into the field to help those that have nothing at all. And as your brothers and sisters, supporting other brothers and sisters in another area as well, this sponsorship pays for the children to attend school, obtain an education, helps them to obtain a uniform, it feeds them and a family for a month. It gives them, and above all, a hope of someone is caring for them, lets them know that someone is caring for them, and they are really a loving, caring and adorable. And the kids can't survive in a life that gives them nothing apart from the poverty, and they really need your help. So I thank you, and that is the end of that. Thank you. So there is a little bit of supper out there which will get brought in. Could I ask if anyone would like to close with a word of thanks? And thanks for the food, or closing prayer. If Dad, yep, all right, thank you.
If you don't fall up the rise and brothers.
Our great and almighty, loving Heavenly Father, we come before thy throne of grace to thank thee for the many blessings that thou hast given us in this country. We do thank thee for the safety that we have. We thank thee for the government that give us the right to worship thee in spirit and in truth. We thank thee, Heavenly Father, that thou hast looked after us and that thou hast strengthened us in our hope. We do ask that thou might be with those of like precious faith overseas and also in this country, that together we might grow in faith and that we might see thy Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, and that we might each have a part in that glorious kingdom yet to be established. We thank thee, Heavenly Father, for all blessings, for thou art the giver of every perfect and good gift. We come before thy throne of grace through thy Son, our Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ. Amen.